Hi, I am Raymond Camden, a developer evangelist for Webflow, and today I'm going to show you how to add charting and dynamic charting to your Webflow sites. There's a lot of ways of doing this. I'm just going to focus on a couple different examples that hopefully you can make use of in your sites. Now, the first thing I'm going to point out is that I'm using Chart.js. There's no particular reason. It's just the first library I typically use when I'm building charts for web apps. You can use any client-side technology, library, etc. that makes sense for you. Now, first thing I want to ask myself is what exactly am I charting? I could be charting just some simple static information, numbers that I already have, or using numbers from some remote API. In other words, not Webflow data. So if we take that simple example, what I've done is build a page, and all I had to do was drop a canvas element on there, because that's what Chart.js requires, and then just add a code embed. And this code I took right from their documentation. It is a hard-coded bar chart with hard-coded values, and I just dropped that right on the page, and we could see it renders it quite huge because I didn't do anything to size a chart or anything, but it just works. It's nice and simple. We can make this a little bit more complex and actually work with dynamic data. So this is the second page. Once again, it is using a canvas element in there. This time I wrapped it in a div block so I could give it a good height and width so it wasn't so huge. And then for my code, all I did was use some JavaScript to hit the movie database API and ask for how many movies were released from the year 2020 to the year 2025. So now the chart is a bit more dynamic, still not involving any Webflow data, but just to give you an idea of how that works, we'll run that demo, and then you could see. Again, and to be clear, Chart.js has a lot more than bar charts. I'm just keeping my example simple. So you may be wondering, how can we actually add charts for our Webflow CMS data? So in my site, I have a collection called cat stocks. And basically, this is a collection that has a breed, a simple string value, and then a count. And essentially, this represents for my business, whatever. Of this cat breed X, I have Y number of cats, and I want to take this and actually create a chart from this. So how do we do that? So I'm going to use a technique that I learned from Alex Iglesias of FidSuite. And what we're going to do here is do something kind of cool. So on my page here, I have a collection list wrapper, and it's pointing to the CMS collection I just showed. And in my collection list, in my collection item, I am using a code embed. So I'm not actually rendering any of my cats at all. And instead, what I'm doing is putting a application JSON script block that includes information about that particular item from my CMS. So in this case, the breed and the count. And what I did then in my page settings, I'll scroll down here a bit so you can see, all I did was in the before body block, I used JavaScript to get access to all of those JSON blocks and essentially munge together that data. The net result is that I have an array of cat breeds and cat counts. I then simply push that to my chart.js code, and if we take a look at that, here we go. So this chart, again, is using CMS data. If I update my CMS, add a new breed, or I change the count values and republish, the chart is going to be automatically updated. And again, I could style this much, much cleaner. Chart.js has a lot of different nice formatting options for you to play with. So let me know what you think. I'm going to include links to the code that I use so you can copy and paste and try it yourself. And if you build something like this, let me know. Thank you.